So here is Gottum at his first recognized show in Beginner Novice. And, he's done a pretty good job of containing himself. The warm-up area can still be a bit of tension for him. And this ring down here, we're kind of in a bowl. So what you can't see is horse trailers and horses kind of talking to each other up top on the hill. So he's really trying to stay connected. You see his mouth kind of opens a little bit. That is still a sign of tension, but I'm really happy with the feel that he's giving me, staying in between my aids. He is curling a little bit because he likes to drop behind the bit a little bit. So I'm just trying to stay soft and connected, and I'm going to have to ask him for the canter here. You see he picks up the canter, but the tension has just gotten to him a little bit, so he's swapping off. So sometimes when that happens, you kind of have to do a little bit of a restart. So I half halted and asked for the canter. And then he could hold it a little bit. He gave me a lovely canter in the warm-up, but sometimes that happens. And just trying to stay unemotional, really calm, and making sure I can be the security blanket that he needs. So I was really proud of him here because he's walking and we're not jigging. So really, as far as my goals go, I'm just looking to get kind of the best that I can get out of my horse at that moment in time. So my goals are just to try to get them to relaxed and as confident as I can, working on straightness and really just trying to stay in the ring to not get eliminated. Oftentimes the first shows with the baby horses can be a little exciting, but he did that free walk rather well. He was overstepping really nicely. Now going to the right is a little bit tougher with the track horses. Again, this way they want to bulge the shoulder and block through the rib cage. So I am working on just having the trot. And he's starting to swing a lot more through his back. It's pretty. One thing I could work on is, again, my leg is going a little bit too far back. I need to be closer to the girth. And again, he picks up the canter, but then he wants to swap off. So I ask him to trot again. And it's kind of like feeling like a little wind-up toy. So I'm trying to make sure that he can breathe and that he can relax. He tends to want to ball up a little bit. And I make sure I do a transition with my body. Overall, I was really pleased with this test. I thought the judge kind of judged him a little harsh. Yes, while he was tense, he was actually pretty obedient, minus the crossfiring in the canter. But overall, I was really pleased with his first dressage test. And he did a really good job. On to the show jumping. And again, for him, the warm-up area is kind of tough for him emotionally and mentally. So he actually did a little bit better in the bigger atmosphere of the arena. Now, for him, and again, at home, he's been great, but sometimes that's what you have to deal with the young horses when you come to the show, as he gets a little fired up. And I have just a simple naith, it's just a rubber bit in his mouth. So he can take a little bit of the contact on it, but it also means that I kind of don't have too much control. But you can see my hands are trying to stay up so I can go with him. And again, these are so small. He's so brave. He tends to want to just take over a little bit, but you can see he's got such a lovely canter. He's such an athletic and talented horse. It really is just about getting his mindset and getting him to settle. He took that one pole down just because he flattened out a bit. Now I gave him a little correction with my inside rein where I lifted it up because I felt him kind of drop the shoulder and bolt. So that's where we had a little bit of the over dramatics there, but then he jumped that line really nicely. And he starts to settle down, coming to two stride. Asked him to whoa, and he did actually a fairly good job of waiting right there. Have a little bit of a drift. So I was really pleased with how he went through. About halfway through the course, he finally settled down and started to respect the fences a little bit. So overall, I was really happy with him in this show jump. So now on to cross country. And again, the cross country was causing a fair amount of trouble here at this fence. And you could see he drifted a little bit, but he's so brave. Jumped it quite well. And that fence caused trouble because it's that light blue and it had some tan brown on it. I think the horses were just catching a peek at it. But for him, he's such a brave horse, it can almost be a little bit more difficult to ride them when they're a bit like this because they just don't back off the fences. And so I'm just trying to keep him in a steady pace and make sure I can soften to the fences. He wants to get quicker when I soften to the fence, and because the fence is smaller, it's not really holding him off of it. So, but again, you kind of have to allow the horse to make the mistake so then they can learn to respect the fence a little bit. So coming to this roll top, again, no hesitation whatsoever. And I saw a little bit of the distance, a longer distance to it, and I softened and he kind of clunked it. But I think that helped him sharpen up a little bit. And now he's studied some. I am having to, work a little bit of maintaining his pace. And especially through this kind of bottoms right here, it was a little deeper footing. But he gives me quite a different feel than Play Big or aka Gamble, because he balls up and gets kind of tense and in my hand, versus Gamble it just is kind of out there. Like he's just really relaxed and canters nicely. This one has to learn a little bit, and he kind of was in a little bit of the racetrack mode where he wanted to curl up and get a little quick, but he was figuring it out as we went. It's kind of the best part of cross country with the thoroughbreds is as they go, they start to relax, they start to take their deep breath. And I'm really quite happy when he drops to the trot, coming to a couple of the fences. I want him to take that time. It's really good for him. And then we had to do the 3. He did that really well. Now we're coming near the end of the course. We have another coupe and then an up bank. Now he's really starting to settle again. He's such an incredible athlete. I think once he really starts to figure out his job, he's going to be pretty amazing horse. He jumped the coupe really well. I was very happy he broke to the trot and waded to that distance. Again, he's very powerful in his hind end. Making sure he stays balanced here. Now I feel like I can soften and he's not wanting to run away. And you can see how clever he was. It wasn't the best distance and he just figured it out. Trotted nicely through the water. He tends to really like water because I think he likes to splash. And he wanted to kind of hurry on out, but I wanted him just to trot this fence. Any chance I get, I can teach him to slow down and relax, because again, he kind of wants to do everything in a hurry. And so I'm coming around. He kind of would lock on to the bigger fences sometimes, and I had to be like, no, not that one. Let's jump the small one. Coming to the last fence. Again, he's starting to relax. He's still curling up on me, but that will eventually go away once he learns to relax. He jumps the last fence, very nice and out of stride. He was a really good boy and very brave. He moved up from last place to 6th place, so very proud of him over the weekend.